Environmental enrichment is an activity that aims at stimulating the instincts of animals, what they would do if they were in the wild. And it aims at enhancing three components. The first one is the cognitivity. Cognitivity is the faculty to make the brain think outside the box. For instance, like what you've seen there, they had to put honey with genus putting them inside the bamboo. So the chimp has to think, so how do I get the honey, the food which is inside, the treat which is inside. So as the animal does that, his brain functionality is being enhanced. Then another thing is also aims at enhancing the manipulative capabilities of the animal. So when it gets the bamboo, turning it like this, turning it to the other side, the manipulative capabilities of the animal are being what? Are being enhanced. Then the other thing is to do with the physiological well-being. Okay? For instance, you saw one got the bamboo and climbed up. That is a way of exercising. So some of the abnormalities like obesity, much weight in that regard will be done what? Will be regulated or controlled. And then also the other thing is attitudinal. You saw how others were cooperating. So we're able to know who is a friend of who. You're able to know who is your friend when you have much and who comes to you, even when you have problems.
Getting down to celebrating World Chimpanzee Day that falls every 14th July, Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center is taking us through what it takes to maintain chimpanzees under captivity. Remember, these aren't on this island by choice, but because of a number of factors like habitat loss, forests, poaching, and wildlife trafficking. From their different ways, these chimpanzees are integrated into one social family. In here, security is one key thing.
My name is William Hannington, and I'm one of the zookeepers who happen to work with primates. Currently, I work with primate section, ensuring the life of primates at Uwek continues and thrives. Managing 23 chimps safety-wise is not an easy task. That's why we have a lot of factors to be considered to ensure that we live with them harmoniously without affecting the outside communities, but also within the community of Uwek. So regarding to this, we have the standard operating procedures. They are the basic rules that we observe as zookeepers, animal caretakers. We observe these operating procedures in three phases. First, before interacting with animals. Second, while interacting with animals. Third, after interacting with the animals. And they vary. They vary referring to which animal you're working with. So specifically for primates, especially the chimpanzees, we need to keep in mind that chimpanzees are worth humans because of the DNA and the communities we share. So they get to understand. That's why we need always a very bright and alert mind to work with these guys because they know us and we understand them. Most importantly, that of course at the start of everything, we need to work in pairs. I don't work alone. Working in pairs is a safety procedure where in case maybe I the process. So what happened that on arrival, first of all, you have to confirm with the padlocks. You have a rule. It is open, enter, close. That is the rule. The 3 cycles. You open, you enter, and you close again. And then after closing, you have to double check if the padlock is well closed. And double checking is not one man's role. I may double check when I'm in a hurry. So it's always good if I double check. All colleagues within the section, they all must touch that padlock and confirm if it is really well closed. Because for anything, we are all accountable. So after ensuring that padlocks are well closed, we also observe the animal-human contact distance. There is a distance an animal will always want to entertain you. Like us in humans, we have the individual distance. If I'm standing somewhere, I may not need that kind of direct contact. So the same with animals, we observe it. And given the fact that us and chimpanzees, there is a zoonosis factor where we can share similar diseases. So our interactions are really under a safety procedure. before we do anything to bring them on the island, we need to first confirm the voltage. We have direct current on the island. It's not meant to scare chimps, but it's meant to control the rate of escapes. But also, even before that, the design of the holding matters a lot. That's why at some point our doors can easily open, even when I'm not inside. They are sliding doors. So the design of the enclosure, the design of the holding matters a lot in the safety procedures. It's always considered in its early stages when they are constructing, to ensure that I can use one hand, I open, and yet the animals are within the ratio or they are within the holding. So early in the morning, I check the power, I use the tester to confirm the voltage. It should be between 6 to 7.5 voltage. That is enough for a chimp to recognize that there is power. We are really very strict. If there is no power on the island, we rather keep them indoor in the integration den than releasing them and we risk. If you were to look up, that structure is meant for a reason, it's designed for a reason. The chimp can easily go in, but cannot come out. Yes. The chimp can easily go in, but cannot come out. So it's very rare for them to escape when they are on the island. If you also look around the island, there is water surrounding the island. So that water is not meant for maybe to have any other animal. It acts as a barrier, a safety procedure. Chimps are not all that well adapted to swimming. So that island stops chimps from crossing from the island to the entire public. So that's how we ensure that we are very safe. The safety procedures are very much important.
And now, the feeding of these chimpanzees.
Yeah, Dan Mirembe is my name, the head section for primates. The nutrition of chimpanzees does not differ much from the one of humans, given the fact that we have a lot that we share with them. So in an event where the chimpanzees is in a free-ranging environment in the wild, the chimpanzees' food preference is fruit. So they prefer eating much of the food that they eat in the wild is fruits at 80%. And in captivity, we replicate what happens in the wild so that we do what is ideal for them. So for our case here, we give them 60% of fruits of what they eat on a daily basis. And then also we give them like 20% of the vegetables that entails minerals and some protein content, and then 20% for starch. So one of the things that's so fascinating is that in the wild, the chimpanzees, they always hunt for antelopes and monkeys as well as termites to get in captivity and nuts to get the protein content. And then also we give them porridge, 1 liter each in the morning and 1 liter each in the evening. Millet porridge, and then also mixed with soy. And is a source of iron and some other mineral contents. So nutrition is a very important component in enhancing the well-being of the animals in the captivity. So we feed them 4 times a day. In the morning, they have porridge. Each one takes 1 liter of porridge, plus some vegetables and some few fruits. Then at around 11, they eat tubers, specific tubers. At 3 p.m. fruits, and late in the evening porridge, as well as fruits and some vegetables. Then the rest of the food, like the portion, we'll give them portion pumpkins from inside on Thursdays or Sundays.
The general welfare of these chimpanzees involves health checks.
My name is Dr. Watua James. I am a wildlife veterinary specialist and I work with the Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center, commonly called Entebbe Zoo. Entebbe Zoo is a home to over 60 animal species and close to 400 individual animal species. And of this, we have up to 24 or 20 chimpanzees, and these children related to a human being. That means we can share pathogens, potentially zoonotic pathogens can be passed from chimps to humans and vice versa. So at the Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center, we also have the Wildlife Hospital, quarantine and nursery, where I happen to be a team member there. During health checks, which are conducted every year, we assess each individual animal's health status. We evaluate system by system, ranging from the oral, dental system, the ocular system. We evaluate the digestive system, the skeletal, musculoskeletal system to get a realistic picture of the health of the herd or flock that we hold here. And we also pick samples including blood, urine, secretions to screen for zoonotic diseases. And then also we give preventive medication including deworming, birth control, among others.
Good morning, viewers. We are streaming live from Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center, popularly known as the Entebbe Zoo. It is windy and cold here at the chimpanzee exhibit in Entebbe. Of course, we are next to Lake Victoria, the largest freshwater body, I think, in the world, if not mistaken, or Africa. And it's a good mood. We are in the week celebrating the world, engaging in activities that will climax the World Chimpanzee Day on the 14th of July, this Friday. And a lot of preparations are being undertaken by respective departments, partners in chimpanzee conservation. And at work, we are glad that we are celebrating this special day. Now, this morning, we're having a discussion, a conversation, conservation conversation about chimpanzees. We want to look at the contribution of your work towards chimpanzee conservation in Uganda. And joining me is, of course, an eminent panel of men and women who have dedicated their time towards chimpanzee conservation and, of course, wildlife on a whole. But they have a lot of experiences that they would love to share. And this is the discussion that is going to be undertaken this morning. I will definitely request the panel to introduce themselves, beginning with the gentleman on my far left. You're most welcome.
Thank you. My name is David Musingo, the manager for Education and Information Department. And I want to congratulate everybody in the world, Uganda in particular, for reaching this day, celebrating the Chimpanzee Day on 14th. We have organized series of activities to mark celebrations of chimpanzee conservation in the world and particularly in Uganda. Yes.
Thank you very much. That's Mr. Musingo, the manager himself. Versatile, lot of experience, and we hope to partake from his cup of wisdom. Let me pass on to the lady next to me. Very wonderful lady, very passionate about chimpanzees. Kindly introduce yourself.
I'm called Slovia Asimwe, and I'm a senior primate keeper working with UWAC. And I want to congratulate everyone upon celebrating World Chimpanzee Day. And the hashtag is Chimpanzee My Cousin. Please put on the hashtag on Twitter and you will prove that chimpanzee is indeed our cousin. Thank you.
Just like you heard, we're trending under the hashtag Chimpanzee My Cousin here at you. But of course, the global hashtag is World Chimpanzee Day. So the two definitely will do a great job for us. Next to her is another wonderful lady who has taken her time, dedicated her time towards chimpanzees and the wildlife. In a special way, let her introduce herself.
Yes, good morning. Dr. Mbaba's Rachel. I manage the Animal and Horticulture Department at Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center. And we join today the world this week and on the 14th as we celebrate the World Chimpanzee Day. For me, the chimps and most of the apes are passion to me, so I come to celebrate this week because that was my first field as a veterinarian to work with. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I want to greet everyone who's watching. My name is Mirembe Dan. I'm excited. I am the head section for primates here at Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center. Very much delighted to work with the primates. And I want to congratulate everyone who's passionate about conservation, about the conservation of primates, and specifically the conservation of chimpanzees. I congratulate you upon this day of commemorating the Chimpanzee Day. So I'm very excited. We have a lot that we prepared. It has been a week of sensitization, a week of doing environmental enrichment, and we are seeing it all through. We are garnering a lot of support. Please go on Twitter, on all social media fora, Chimpanzee My Cousin. That is our hashtag here at your work. Thank you. Back to you.
Straight to Dan.
Yes, sir.
You talked about dedicating your life towards chimpanzees as a zookeeper.
Yes.
You're a primate keeper. What does it mean? What is it when you talk about a primate keeper? What is the life of a primate keeper on a daily here at your work?
A life of a primate keeper is a mysterious life. It's not easy for an ordinary person to understand it, but precisely, I would say, is a life of passion, full of commitment, dedication, team spirit driven, and a life of empathy, feeling empathy for our cousins, the chimpanzees, and then also too much dedication. Because as you realize, chimpanzee my cousin, we have a lot that we share with them. So you work being the accredited institution, which has been accredited by WAZA as the best zoo in East Africa, Central, and West Africa. That one means that there is a lot of animal welfare. Animal welfare is the hallmark of captive management of animals, and for chimpanzees in particular. So we always put at front the animal welfare of the chimpanzees, bearing in mind that 99% of the animals that we have here are rescued from different walks of life, and these are victims of illegal wildlife trade, poaching, habitat destruction, so on and so forth. So most of them, we get them when they're between 0 to 5 years old. So that one tells you that if you've ever seen a chimp that has a baby, there is always a strong bond between the mother and the baby. So for one to have a success of having a baby chimp, inevitably has to first kill the mother. And because of the organization that is between the social strata, so it means that sometimes the influential chimpanzees will intervene to kill, to protect the baby. So you realize like 5 to 8 chimpanzees are always killed when one baby is in the hands of man. So the circumstance under which we rescue them has a great impact on their life and the well-being. So when they reach here, they go through a vigorous rehabilitation process. So there's a lot to talk about rehabilitation. I request stop for now. That's what I can tell you about the life of a primate keeper.
Talking about rehabilitation.
Yes, sir.
To dive towards Dr. Rachel.
Mm.
Rehabilitation.
Okay. Thank you, Eric. Uh, as Dan has said, we are rescue. We are CITES Rescue Center for Uganda. So most of the animals that come here are rescues, either confiscated from people or after human wildlife conflicts in communities and what. So especially for the chimpanzees, most of them we've received them when they're babies, really young. The way I said, most have come in as they've taken due to pet trade, and people have taken them as pets. They look like humans, so they think they will make good pets. But then when they are gotten from those people, they are brought here, and they are still young. Some of them are like 1 month, a few weeks, and that's how most of these were brought in, and most of the ones that have gone through this center. So the rehabilitation, like for a chimpanzee, will mean we'll hand raise it from when it is a young chimp to when it is like about 4 years. We hand raise it, we'll provide the milk for the mother, will be the mother. We'll have a keeper that becomes like a mother to that chimp because it needs warmth, it needs all that. So it is not, as you see, most chimps will move with their mother and like maybe holding on to their bellies of their mothers. So if you don't provide that warmth, sometimes they will get pneumonia and die. So all that is needed: feeding, special formulas, until it's almost like then you win it, then you feed it up to 4 years before we integrate it into the main group here. So that is what is involved in rehabilitation. But through that, we'll do some health checks. Like when they come in, we'll do what we put them under quarantine because we have other animals here for about 90 days, and we'll do health checks on them. We'll give them some vaccinations because because of the DNA that we share. There's some diseases that we can pass on. There's some diseases that they may bring from the wild that they can pass on to humans. So there's some vaccinations that we give, like measles, like that's what we give to our young babies. So polio, and yeah, that is in the process of rehabilitation. Once we grow, we integrate them into the big group that is specific for the chimpanzees.
Wow.
Thank you.
Interesting. Habitat loss, pet trade has been raised clearly. I would like to know from Mr. Musingo, the manager education. It seems there's a lot going on in communities, neighboring chimpanzee habitats. What is your work doing in terms of engaging these communities? What programs are in place to ensure we change the mindsets of the community members?
basically chimps are found in forests. Many of these forests are being cut down. In Uganda, chimps are found mainly in Bunyoro, Kiriandongo, Budongani, Kalinzu, Chivale, and many other forests in the Bunyoro region. But it is really painful and unfortunate that most of these forests are being cut down. And some of these chimpanzees end up in people's homes conflicting with human beings, causing what we call chimpanzee human being conflict. And it is increasingly becoming a problem in those regions. So as UEC, we are coming in through the wildlife clubs of Uganda to engage young people to appreciate the existence of chimps. God created human beings, created chimps and other wildlife, so that we can coexist. All of us will have a role to play in the nature, in the ecosystem. And therefore, human beings do not think we are the only creatures or species that we are created with by God to live. So we have a lot of intervention, tree planting. We have children camps that we are organizing, even at UEC here. We're engaging young people to appreciate, but also integrating some of these things in school curriculum so that they are examinable for the young people to grow up appreciating the chimpanzees and other wildlife. Thank you.
Interestingly,
Getting down to celebrating World Chimpanzee Day, that animal welfare at Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center has got an aspect of environmental enrichment aiming at bettering lives